right, I got a scary chart for you in a second. First, let me tell you the update on climate change. It is not good. We're breaking records again. We're #1 in carbon dioxide. Okay, and in this case, when I say we, I mean the whole world. Last year, atmospheric carbon dioxide briefly crossed 400 parts per million for the first time in human history. Joy. Okay. Now, that's really bad. I'm sure this year it got better, right? I mean, I'm told by the right-wingers, things go up and down. There's no way you can tell which way it's going to go. I mean, tides go in, tides come out. You can't explain that, right? Oh, look at this. This year's first 400 parts per million reading came a full 2 months earlier than last year. Oops, things are getting worse. And in fact, here's a kind of a devastating quote from one of the experts. We're already seeing values over 400. Probably we'll see values dwelling over 400 in April and May. It's just a matter of time before it stays over 400 forever. Now, this is where you need context. Well, how bad is 400 parts per million carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? How bad is that? And is that really rising? Because I'm told on television all the time, Meet the Press just had a debate with Bill Nye the Science Guy and a Republican lawmaker where they debated climate change, whether it's real or not, whether there's really more carbon dioxide in the air. And maybe 400 parts per million isn't that bad, right? Well, here's the context and the scary chart we promised you. Yeah. All right, now that's the chart of carbon dioxide parts per million in the atmosphere since 1958. It's fairly famous. It's called the Keeling curve, and the latest numbers just add to the very end there. And as you can see, from 1958 on, carbon dioxide in the air has gone up and then up, oh, but to be fair, and then up, and to be fair, even further up. No, it's not fluctuating. It's not going up and down. Yes, clearly, since we've become more and more industrialized, there's more and more carbon dioxide in the air. And the more carbon dioxide there is in the air, the planet gets warmer on average. And there is more climate change, where the weather fluctuates, we have more severe storms, etc. Now, what are the results already? In fact, the oceans have already risen 8 inches in the past century and may rise another 3 feet by the end of the century, with grave costs to coastal communities. Now, since we're at the beginning of this, and we just passed 400 parts per million, well, it looks like, 8 inches, maybe not so bad, right? So has this ever happened in history before where we had this much carbon dioxide in the air? Well, it turns out the right wing's right about that. Yes. Now you got to go back a while. So let me explain. Estimates for when the atmosphere last contained this much carbon dioxide range from 800,000 years ago all the way to 15 million years ago. Oh, okay, well, so we did have it before. What's the big deal, right? I mean, other than massive changes on what happened on the planet back then, including massive changes to life forms, I mean, how bad could it be? We already had it once on Earth. Well, let me explain. When carbon dioxide was last at these levels, the polar ice melted and flooded the oceans, raising levels up to 130 feet higher than today's levels. So all the gigantic coastal cities all across the world, it was nice knowing you. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, and yes, it takes a little while at this carbon dioxide level to go from 8 inches to 3 feet to 130 feet. But it's hard to get the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So even if we stopped all of it right now, we would still have massive troubles. But we're not stopping it. We're going at a higher and higher pace. That Keeling curve is going to continue to go higher and higher until we go, oops, all the polar ice melted. Now we're in irreversible, massive trouble.